Hello and welcome. I'm Adriana, physiotherapist and yoga instructor with a passion for trauma-informed care and chronic pain. Today's video will be a yoga sequence for leg strength. We'll be moving through a lot of different variations of poses, so you can choose whichever ones feel best for your body today. So get into something comfy, grab your mat, and we'll get started. I invite you to join me in standing to start today's video. Of course, if you would like to do something different to get warmed up into the practice, you can choose to do something different for your body today. Standing at the top of your mat, I'll face this way so you can see better. I invite you to take a second and, if it feels good, close your eyes. If you would prefer that the eyes are open, you may choose to do so, perhaps gently gazing down towards the ground. Taking a second to breathe in and out, feeling the feet as they ground into the mat. In your own time, opening up the eyes if you have chosen to close them. And I invite you to do a side stretch. I will be doing this by bringing my arms up above my head, grasping my right wrist with my left hand, breathing in and gently leaning over to the left, guiding my hips to the right. Taking 2 breaths here, maybe noticing some sensation through the right hip. When you're ready, coming back to neutral and repeating on the other side, using the right hand to grab the left wrist, bringing the hips out to the left. Perhaps noticing any difference from side to side. One more breath here. Coming back up to neutral, and if your arms are up, you can bring them down. And I will be moving through one flowing sequence. So if you would like to join me in that, stand at the top of your mat. Bringing your arms up above your head and bringing your body down, letting your arms go as far as feels comfortable towards your feet. If it feels good, on your next inhale, I invite you to halfway lift. And on the exhale, bring the hands down, bringing the legs back. Maybe staying in a plank, maybe putting your knees down for more support. On the next breath, lowering the body to the ground. On your inhale, you might decide to join me in a baby cobra. Coming down whenever you're ready. Bringing the body back into a form that feels good for you. So that might be child's pose, it might be downward dog. You might decide to do a few cat-cows, whatever movement your body is asking of you. I will be moving into downward dog for 2 breaths. Whenever you are ready, joining me back at the top of your mat, we'll go through a few different forms in standing, starting with Warrior 2. Bringing the right leg back behind you. The left leg is bent in front. decide to bring the arms up. You might decide to keep them down. Perhaps you've decided to stay in your child's pose or downward dog or whatever form felt good for you. Maybe noticing some sensations in the front leg as the knee is bent. Maybe noticing that thigh muscle working. You might decide to keep the arms up. Maybe they're getting tired and you want to bring them down. That is totally okay. One more breath here. And if it's in your practice, I invite you to turn your hips forward, coming into a high lunge, keeping the front knee bent, bending the back leg slightly, bringing the hip forward. Maybe you bring the back knee down because that feels better for you today. That is 100% okay. Maybe you stay up and bring the arms up. Holding for 2 more breaths here. Moving into warrior 1 in your own time. So bringing that back foot so it's down, the foot is out at 45 degrees. Keeping that front knee bent again and the hips forward. You may once again decide to bring the arms up or keep them down. There is no right or wrong. It's whatever feels good for your body today. One more breath here. Maybe noticing if you would like your belly button to come a little bit closer to your rib cage. And on the next breath, we are going to lift the back leg if this feels good for you today. Leaning the hips over the front leg. For 2 seconds, 1 second, coming back down. Maybe taking a moment to shake out. And I will be moving through another flow just like we did the first time. So if you'd like to join me, we'll start that now. On your next breath, bringing the arms up. And on the exhale, coming down towards the ground. On the inhale, halfway lifting, looking forward if that feels good for the neck. The exhale, placing the hands down, bringing the legs back. Maybe you stay in plank, maybe you put the legs down. The next breath, lowering the body down. You might decide to do cobra again. You might decide you want to push into your feet, straighten the elbows into upward dog. And then coming back once again to whatever pose your body is asking for. Maybe that's child's pose. Maybe it's cat-cow. Maybe it's downward dog. Maybe you don't know what your body would like, and that's also okay. One more breath here. On your next breath, making your way back to standing in whatever way feels good for you. We're going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. Flipping into warrior 2, the right knee is bent, left knee is straight behind you, arms go up. Or arms stay down. Taking 3 breaths here. Maybe noticing the right thigh, Noticing the muscles there. Perhaps noticing the ankle and the calf on either leg. Moving into high lunge if that feels good for you. Turning the hips forward, keeping the front knee bent. You might decide once again to have the arms up or down. Whatever feels best today. Maybe you decide to grab opposite elbows. And perhaps the back leg is feeling like that knee wants to go down. Taking a second to feel into the breath. Taking one more breath. And on the next exhale, if it feels okay for you, moving into warrior one. Dropping that back foot down, putting it out at 45 degrees, keeping the hips forward. Choosing whichever arm variation you would like. Two more breaths here. Perhaps noticing the leg muscles. Maybe they're shaking. Maybe they feel really sturdy. On the next breath, leaning forward into that right leg, lifting the back leg up. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Bringing the leg down. Taking a second here to feel into the mat with your feet. Perhaps doing a scan from head down to the neck, to the shoulders, the back, the hips, the legs. And just taking a second to pause and see, is there anything coming up here? I invite you to move into chair pose with me. Bending the knees, bringing the bum back like you're going to sit in a chair. Maybe the arms come up. Perhaps you decide to bring your hands to heart center. You might even decide you want to twist in this. You can choose whichever version your body is asking of you today. One more breath. And on the next exhale, coming back up to standing, moving the arms into whatever position they would like. Perhaps doing some twists, moving the body. Trying to focus on whatever it is asking of you today. On your next breath, opening the hips up so you're sideways on the mat. I invite you to join me in goddess pose, having the toes or the feet pointed outwards towards the edges of your mat. From here, bending into the knees. Perhaps bringing the arms up into cactus arms. Taking 3 breaths here. Maybe noticing those leg muscles working, those ankles holding you up. One more breath. And on the next exhale, coming back up to standing, I invite you to join me on your back. We'll be ending out the video today Doing a few poses lying down. Coming onto your back in your own time. You get to decide if you would like to continue on your back today, or you might decide to stop the video now. Perhaps you would just like to lie here and listen as we move through the next few poses. If you're joining in with me, bringing both knees up to your chest. Maybe grabbing the legs, rocking slightly back and forth on the back. Getting a little bit of a massage into the low back and the mid back. You might decide to keep the right knee up and bring the left leg out straight. Taking a second to feel your breath as it reaches that right leg. On the next breath, bringing that right knee up and switching legs, grabbing the left leg on the shin, straightening the right leg out. Perhaps you notice some differences from side to side. Maybe this side feels different on the leg or on the back. Whenever you're ready, lowering that left leg. Stretching the arms up above your head as high as feels comfortable. Maybe thinking of stretching those feet out as long as they can go. Perhaps doing some circles with both wrists and both ankles. Bringing some movement into different areas of the body. On your own time, ending today's practice in whatever way feels best for you. You might decide to stay on your back. Maybe you grab a blanket or a pillow. Maybe you move into a completely different form to end in. Maybe taking a second to give thanks to your legs for holding you up throughout today's practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.